Brian is exhausted. He's been to Muskegon. He's been to Arizona. He's watched wild horses. Wild horses couldn't drag him back to my show. Or no, did drag. I don't know.
It's tough to say. I didn't go to Arizona this time. I came
Oh,
back via Reno. I went out to Michigan by way of Idaho, Wyoming, Nebraska, Illinois, and Indiana, and then came back mostly the same route with a diversion to Reno for reasons I could not disclose. Those reasons were fun. I went to the Redwood Materials event, and I almost got a tour of Giga, Nevada, but
almost got a tour of Giga.
yeah,
So,
what are you going to do?
so where were the wild horses?
All around the
Oh,
Giga Nevada area and the Redwood Materials area. They're only 10 minutes apart,
oh.
but there are signs on the street that say, watch out for horses because they are everywhere. They are high desert rats out here.
Yeah. Well, okay. Speaking of making comebacks, we have Elon Musk has made a comeback. He's actually running Tesla now. And I feel like the energy is up. I feel like there's more releases, more information coming out, not only about Tesla, but about the other companies. Are you feeling any of that energy?
I am feeling so there's two things I'm feeling, and one is that for sure. The mood in the community is up, I would say. There's, the presence is there. But the other thing I'm feeling is the thermometer on hate has really gone down. 2, 3 months ago, it was uncomfortable, dangerous. There were crimes being committed almost daily, maybe not daily, but about.
Yeah.
And in Michigan, there was none of that. There was no fear of that. So
Mhm.
I think maybe they got summer school and couldn't continue protesting. I'm not sure how that works. Maybe they got jobs. I don't know. But yeah, it was great. And at the superchargers, nothing. It was fine.
Good,
At anywhere I went, fine, nothing.
good, good, good. Well, listen,
I've
responded.
heard of him.
Elon, he responded to Farzad. Actually, he responded to Farzad and AJ and all kinds of people over the last couple
Hmm.
of days. But on this particular case, he said was regarding the number of remote monitors that are working on the robotaxis down in Austin. And Farzad had said, "Hey, look, he's figuring Farzad in his own head is figuring it's about 1-to-1 right now with regard to remote operators to the vehicles." And he said that he had done some math and he figured that if they got it to 3-to-1, then Tesla would be profitable. And anything above 3-to-1, they'd be amazingly profitable. And Elon responded, and he said, "When will we get to that level of like 2-to-1, 3-to-1?" And Elon said, "Well, in a couple of 3 months." So I took that to mean not necessarily that it's 1-to-1 now, but
Hmm.
that his 3-to-1 idea for the future was reasonable,
I think so.
and that it's 2 to 3 months away. That at least that part we could take as being something close to gospel.
I read it as 1 to 2 months.
And 1 to 2
But
months. I could be
but
wrong.
we could either of us could be wrong. Check us in the comments. Let us know. Um, but in any case, let's say 1 to 3. There we go.
Yeah.
That is fantastic. Um, I believe that the only reason that the ratio is as high as it is out of an abundance of caution, and because it's not expensive to have that level of caution on a fleet this small. And yes, if 3-to-1 is the right number for today, then in 1 to 3 months, you could absolutely feel comfortable expanding. And what they would just do, I think, is triple the number of vehicles, not add any more supervisors, and cover the entirety of Austin.
Yeah.
And at that point, gets exciting.
Okay. All right. So then I asked Grok, and Grok says that it doesn't appear that there have been any more reports of mistakes by robotaxis since that first few days. So we had,
Mm.
like four kind of major minor events. I mean, they were minor, but they were major because they were the only ones.
Hmm.
And then, like for the last 4 days, I haven't seen nothing. Have you seen anything?
I haven't, but I think the percentage of rides that are being filmed has also dropped
Mm.
because, those first few days, anything you shot was going to turn into money. You were going to print more than $4.20, I would wager. That is the fare that was determined. And it, I think, is going to, but other people can film. And a lot of those people who are filming, I assume, would release videos later. Mm, But I don't think they're just, one of the early complaints was, oh, they're only giving it to the Tesla loyalists because they're gonna not show the bad stuff. It's a live stream. I'm not aware of how you edit a live stream
Yeah.
to, and a lot of the complaints you saw, and Farzad's guilty of this too. He showed Waymo blocking traffic, and I watched the video, and they had to. That's where you drop people off on that road, because the other lane would be a bicycle lane. It's illegal to go in those. And he said, "Yeah, but it's blocking 2 lanes of traffic." It's like, no, it's touching the second lane. Cars are still traveling in that lane just fine. It's not blocking 2 lanes of traffic. And I'm not saying Waymo isn't kind of a Mr. Magoo, but the claims were overblown, just like the claims against Tesla were overblown. It's so dangerous, Randy. It went 39 in a 35.
Right.
Yeah, but traffic was going 42, so it was still going slower than the flow of traffic until it caught up to the traffic, and then it was going 20 because that's the flow of traffic. You need to, following the law is important, but driving in a predictable way is more important. If my car was forbidden from breaking the law when an Amazon truck is parked partially blocking my lane, instead of going around it, we would all live there for the next 20 minutes. That's not a good solution. That's bad. And then cars, 3, 4 cars back would be trying to it'd be chaos. You don't want that. There are exceptions. And I think Tesla does a very good job at understanding what those exceptions are.
I'm on AI3, an AI3 vehicle, of course, and mine is I have it set on regular, not on chill. And I just went 180 miles overnight, or yesterday rather. And on those 180 miles, I never touched anything for the entire. I never even came close to even thinking I might want to.
I didn't know your car would do 180. That's impressive in
180 miles,
standard.
not
I
perfect.
leave my car in, hooray. It's much more exciting.
But I will say that my car goes pretty much with the flow and sometimes is going at least 10 miles over the speed limit, a couple of times like 11 or 12 miles over the speed limit on the freeways. You just spent, I don't know, 2,000 miles or so. What?
5,700 miles?
5,700 miles. So what are your reports after your trip of
Sure. Yeah. So I don't know if your version still does this. I've had older versions where it would tell you what it's thinking on the screen, and it would say, uh, I've adjusted your speed to maintain traffic flow, to
Oh,
match traffic flow. It used to say that on the screen sometimes. And you look at it and go, huh, okay. Um, but I don't see that notice anymore. And if it's going faster than I like, you can just roll down the speed. And I do that. When I was in the middle of nowhere, I left it in hurry mode, or as I call it, hooray, because chill is basically, if you're on a highway that has 3 lanes, chill means right lane, standard means center lane, and hurry means left lane.
interesting.
It really does. And it's not exclusive. It'll still
Right.
change lanes sometimes,
Mhm.
especially if someone comes flying up behind you, it'll politely get out of the way. My report is in the Pacific Northwest and in California, it behaves wonderfully. In Michigan, it behaves very, very well. But in Utah, Nevada, Nebraska, not good, not
Oh,
good. And this is what I experienced on version 12. It always feels like it's almost a full version behind in those states that don't have as much training data. And it would behave poorly. It would not under, like I was in some small town in Michigan, and it was nighttime, and it's like one of those highways where it's 2 lanes without a divider.
yeah.
And then you get into town. We get into town, the car goes to the slow lane and passes this guy. And I'm looking at the road going, is this the slow lane or is this parking?
Oh,
And then we get ahead of him and cut him off. And I mean, cut him off because the road's ending. No, it was parking. So I looked like a real jerk passing a guy badly, slowly, last minute in the parking lane. So wasn't super impressed with that. That was a little uncomfortable. And it would do a lot of really bad lane changes. Like you can see this lane closes up ahead, right lane closed up ahead. I put on the blinker, it moves to the left lane, and then it's, you know what? Nah, the right lane's empty. Moves back. What are you doing? We've got a few hundred feet left, and I'm going 85 miles an hour.
oh man.
So let's come on. So I'm not worried about that because each new version brings those areas up to the previous version,
Right.
in my estimation. So when I see people saying I live in, and it's one of those lower population density states, and FSD doesn't work for me the way I see it working in videos, I'm able to say, I hear you and I believe you. I wouldn't say if I was asleep and it was driving itself, I don't believe I'd have been in danger.
Dangerizing, yeah.
I think what I would have been is deeply annoyed that it was cutting people off to get over and emerge it should have seen a mile earlier.
So over the last couple of days, I've seen a number of articles, much being made about LiDAR
Mm,
versus not LiDAR. Of course, Jim Farley saying that he still thinks that the cars need LiDAR. He said, oh, because they can see better in inclement weather, that word,
hmm
inclement, in bad weather.
hmm
And then somebody else was talking about, oh, LiDAR can see 5 cars ahead. And I'm like, okay. So I tried to get my thoughts together on this. And it was like, if Tesla can drive better than a human, just better
hmm
than a human, and it is never distracted, never drunk, never speeds, never annoyed with other drivers, doesn't get into road rage, doesn't ever, do any kind of illegal behavior because it just wants to, just
hmm
is
In a bad mood,
in a
is
bad mood,
driving emotionally
driving
or,
emotion. So
yeah.
if all of those things are eliminated and his driving skills are just equal to a really, really good driver, it would seem like every country in the world would already put this product on the street.
Mm,
Now, if LiDAR took
mm,
you 10% better,
hmm
but it cost double
hmm
and it looked ugly, is that
hmm
enough?
So I'm going to skip the ugly argument because I'm
Okay.
sure somebody thinks it looks futuristic and cool. I would say what it looks to me is retro futuristic. This is what a Hollywood prop would have looked like in a movie set in the future 25 years ago. Uh, my concern with the LiDAR is serviceability, maintenance, potential failure, the cost of repair. But more than that, I'm concerned with pedestrian safety, motorcycle safety, bicycle safety, because these cars, the Waymos, have not been pedestrian crash tested, I am sure. And those big knobs hanging out the side of them,
Mhm.
if you're on a motorcycle and you get sideswiped or you do the sideswiping, you're going to lose a leg.
Mhm.
Mirrors fold for a reason. Safety.
Yeah.
Do the LiDARs fold? They do not. I am confident. Um, and then you're introducing aerodynamic drag. In China, the big thing is solid state LiDAR.
Mm.
It's much cheaper. It's much has a longer lifespan. Is more, I guess, reliable with sufficient fidelity. I don't know if it's as good a fidelity, but it's good enough. But my concern is all the people who think it's a silver bullet. I think they're afraid of werewolves. That's the only people who need a silver bullet. And I'm going to tell you that just like LiDAR, werewolves do not exist. Werewolves, yeah. And so why do you need it? Well, because it can see better in the rain. No, it can't. No, it cannot. It cannot see better in the rain. It sees a million bullets in the sky and it can't see. You'll notice when the weather gets really bad in Texas, Tesla stopped driving and Waymo stopped driving.
Mm.
They both did.
Mm.
And what I said is, with the amount of rain they got, that was the right call, because I said, I guarantee you somebody crashed, and it wasn't Tesla or Waymo. And I said that to Hans C. Nelson, who lives in Austin, and he said, correct. There was on the radio a report of a crash because it's torrential rain. You can't see.
Yeah.
The things, well, yes, but the camera can get blinded in the sun. If you're having that problem, clean inside the housing. And if you can't clean inside the housing, make a service appointment. They will do it for you. But you can find YouTube videos on how to remove the shroud and just clean it and put it back. So there are, and LiDAR also can't see in direct sunlight because lasers are just light. And if you're looking at the sun, it's going to be brighter than the laser reflections you're emitting. So the problems I've had with Tesla, and I've said this before, is not a lack of perception.
Right.
It's inadequate decision making. That keeps improving.
Right.
You don't need new hardware to improve your decision making. You need better software. And I keep getting it for free. The car I drive today is so much better than the one I bought in 2023, and it's the same car. So I think Jim Farley is a pretty cool dude, but I don't think he has the expertise to determine whether or not LiDAR is a critical component in a self-driving system.
Yes. Well, okay. So now taking it another step further, I looked this up. The National Safety Council estimates that preventable driver behaviors cause 90 to 95% of crashes, with speeding, distraction, and impairment being the lead causes. Since all of those would be eliminated by any autonomous vehicle, any AV vehicle, you're no longer going to have speeding, distraction, or impairment, then it would seem like countries, cities, states, governments would all be wanting to put on any adequate AV system as quickly as they could.
I would agree. Here's the problem. We had a questioner, we did in Michigan, we did these wonderful Q&As. I guess I'm biased. I was running the Q&As, but I was also running the schedule, and I'm also impressed with that because I kept the whole day on schedule despite challenges. It was wonderful. I did it, man. I did it. Anyway, one of the people got up and asked, and this was a serious question. This was sincere. He wasn't being difficult. He said, does it need to be not 10 times better, but 1,000,000 times better? And we said, wait, what? He said, think about it. Maybe not 1,000,000, but maybe 10,000. Does it need to be 10,000 times better? Because if everybody was using it, you would still have 4 or 5 deaths a year. It's like, yeah, that'd be a lot of deaths. Every one of them would make headline news, but only because they're so rare. So if an AV is 10 times better than a human, you're still going to see reports all the time of crashes and deaths. And crashes, I mean, forget fatalities, just crashes. If it's 1,000,000 times better than humans, you're still going to have crashes every day. And that's with all of them being AVs. Maybe once they're all AVs, the whole thing gets a little easier because they're not as prone to misunderstanding that a green light is not the same as a green arrow. I think I mentioned to you last week, I saw that very accident when I was driving in Michigan.
Yeah.
And it was like a Subaru and like a Nissan, like a Toyota. And it wasn't in the news, Randy. It didn't make international news. I'd like that day to come. I do believe that in our lifetime, yes, both of our lifetimes, we will see a news story that says, can you believe it? This knucklehead was driving himself and crashed. Should we take this more seriously? And I think we can get there.
Maybe we could redirect some of the efforts of the various people that like to protest. Maybe instead of PETA or instead of some of these other, we need a group. What was that group? Also, the ones that did the drunk driving stuff. I forget. Mad. Yeah, man. Maybe we need a group like that to be formed. Let's start one, Brian. And the group would be humans against human drivers.
Yeah. And yeah. And if you oppose us, why do you want to kill all
All those
humans?
people.
What is this, a robot uprising? No,
I think I have a great idea here.
I'm ready.
Okay,
Oh,
humans
oh,
against human drivers. I even like the name. Humans against human drivers.
hmm. We'll have to work on the acronym. It's got to be something clever. In the comments, you guys, tell Randy what the acronym should be. These are interesting times. I know I've been waiting for this future for a long time, and it's interesting to see. There was a movie with Schwarzenegger called Sixth Day, I think it was called, and it was set in the future. And there's a scene where they're driving down the highway, having a conversation, just talking, talking, talking. And then they get to their off ramp, and the car says, "Please resume control of the vehicle." And I was
Oh,
like, oh, how cool. But this was set like in this year. And I was thinking, how funny that they only have highway level 3 in 2025. That's not very futuristic,
yeah. Yeah.
but that problem is so much easier to solve. The only the only reason we don't have it is, lawyers and insurance companies.
And apparently the press. So we need to impress upon the press
Mm,
that we,
mm.
by setting up this national organization championing the future of
Yes.
bees and not killing and maiming so many of our children.
And you said it a minute ago, and you're absolutely right. The biggest obstacle between us and safety isn't how good of a driver I think I am. It's how good of a driver I actually am.
Right.
Am I distracted? Am I tired? Am I intoxicated? Sometimes I have to actually drive, and I think I can't see all around me all the time. I notice it now. Never noticed it years ago because how could I? You don't notice you wouldn't notice that. But it does. It knows where everything is, and it's just clever. So eliminating, yeah, your AV will not drive angry. I've seen people try to road rage at my car, and my car doesn't care. It's not impressed by your attitude. When it's safe for me to get out of your way, I will. Until then, you're not in traffic, my friend. You are traffic. So
All right.
yeah,
So
it's
we've started a movement here. We just need to get it going. I don't know how that's going to work. I did start Citizens Against Diamond Lanes about 50 years ago and got rid of the diamond lane on the Santa Monica Freeway. So I don't know. Citizens Against Death by Driving. We'll figure it out. Let us.
no, we won't. They'll figure it out. That's why we crowdsource, Randy.
Right,
We
right.
don't have time to solve all the world's problems. We're doing our best.
All right, Brian. Glad to have you back in town, whatever town, up in Washington or someplace.
Hmm. That's right.
It's close enough, and thrilling to see those wild horses out there. I've had the opportunity a couple of times myself when going cross country. It's a lot of fun to watch the wild horses for a minute. All right, and to all of you out there, as always, it has been great talking to you.